What is up, Endo Warrior Goddesses? Thank you so much for joining me for another video. I am so excited you're here, as always, for today's video. If you haven't read by the title, I am answering all of your questions from Instagram. And if we are not Instagram buddies, then don't forget to head over to Instagram at Boho Bailey Studio and give me a follow, and I will follow you back. It's so great to build that community. I post lots more resources on there. I post every single day on my stories and in my feed with lots more resources, tips, tricks, and all that good stuff. So head over to Instagram and don't forget to follow me over there. If we haven't met yet, my name is Bailey M. Bain. I'm a spiritual entrepreneur, a yoga and meditation instructor, and a fellow Endo Warrior Goddess. Woo! I was diagnosed with endometriosis this year in April of 2021, and since then I have been on my channel sharing my journey with all of you. My health journey dates back farther than my diagnosis with endometriosis, and that is kind of why I'm here. My goal is to share my story with you in hopes to inspire you to advocate and care for yourself and your own healing, taking your own health into your own hands. That is so important. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel if that interests you. And if you are looking for more in-depth self-care resources, then check out the Endo Warrior Goddess in the description below. Enough about that though. Let's get into today's video. You asked me some insightful questions on Instagram and I want to answer them all. So bear with me as we go through the questions. I'm going to kind of pop the question up in a little box here. So question number 1, do you believe in synchronicities? If you've watched my channel before, then you should know I definitely believe in synchronicities. I talk all the time on here about my synchronistic numbers. 237 is a really big one for me, 1111, 333, repeating numbers in any sense. And sometimes, you know, I feel like a lot of times we all see like 000, 111, 222, 333, 444, 555, up, up, and up, and up, and up. But I feel like we as individuals have numbers that we see, and when we can pay attention to what those numbers are. For me, it's like 231, 237, 1234. I see in sequence a lot, over and over and over again. So pay attention to what those repeating numbers are. And then a really good way to figure out what it means and what your angel guides are trying to tell you is to just head over to Google and type in angel number, whatever it is. And a lot of times I feel like one response will kind of jump out at me right away, and I know like immediately that in that moment that is the thing that resonates with me and the message that I need to hear. And that's how you know like that message was for me. That message came directly from my guides. It always makes sense. So yes, I believe in synchronicities. Question number 2, are you empathic? Yes, this is something that has been with me my whole life, but I never really knew what it meant to be an empath until I kind of started my spiritual awakening journey back in 2016 or 17. There was a whole lot of catalysts there. I was going through a really weird mindset funk, and I got in a car accident. There was some celebrity suicides. It was just kind of like a concoction of different events that happened and just kind of spiraled my mental health into this shocking state. And when I went and found a psychotherapist that resonated with me, she was like, you are an empath, you are a light worker, you are a starseed child, an indigo child, like you feel the energy of others, of the world, you are sensitive to that kind of thing, and you're in tune with that, and you're mindful of that. And so, like, since then, I've just kind of taken that spiritual awakening kind of with me on my journey, and it's something that I tune into every single day. It's this, like, energy sense that you can tap into, and it's become part of my identity, who I am and who I want to be, who I aspire to be, and how I carry myself. And ultimately, it's led me to understand that all that time I was seeking happiness on my journey, and it's allowed me to understand that happiness, it comes from within. Like, it's been within me this whole time, and it's allowed me to kind of dig up all the dirt that was surrounding that and really get to that beautiful, shining, bright light inside of me. Question number 3 is, what made you get into spirituality? I kind of answered that in the last one. It was that weird catalyst of I got into a car accident. It was right around the time of the suicides of Chester Bennington, Kate Spade, and Anthony Bourdain. And all 3 of those, it just really put my mindset back into that place where I used to be in high school, and I felt that way. Like, I felt so lonely even though I had all these people around me, and I felt like I was becoming a burden on everybody else around me. And I was kind of going through that health journey at the same time, and understanding that I had a genetic mutation that wasn't allowing my body to properly process chemicals that it needed to for a healthy mental state. And so that was what made me seek my psychotherapist. And what I love about psychotherapy is that it helps you get to the root cause of your traumas and really start to understand what made you feel that way and what is triggering these thoughts and these emotions. And it's made me feel more in control of who I am, how I respond instead of react to situations. And so that whole space of like health and mental health, physical health and mental health, was what kind of pushed me into spirituality. And I feel like that's true for a lot of people. I feel like something in your health oftentimes will trigger a spiritual awakening, and my mental health for me was that situation. I love that these are just kind of leading me right into the next question. So the next question is, when you're feeling down, what do you do to get out of it? First and foremost, the one thing that I learned in therapy and the process that we learned from is called the presence process. I would show you my book, but it's on my nightstand downstairs by my bed. It's that important in my life that I keep it next to my bedside like I would a Bible. I highly recommend this book. It's called The Presence Process by Michael Brown, and it is a step-by-step 10-week process and guide that tells you exactly how to process and reframe emotions. It's something that you're never going to get right on the first try, and it is something that you can repeat over and over and over again. He just suggests that you leave, I think it's 4 weeks, maybe it's 10 weeks in between, that you just use the one meditation. And that's really what it comes down to, is it's a daily meditation to help you reframe and process old pent-up traumas and emotions. And I absolutely love this book. I use this process every single day, every single time I am having emotions that, whether they're happy or sad or angry or excited or anxious, the presence process is always there. It always has my back. And so I couldn't be more thankful to my therapist for allowing me that resource. Another great resource for getting out of a mental funk is like yoga and meditation, breath work, journaling. Journaling takes so much of the pressure off from me. Like, it's so amazing for me to just be able to sit down with a pen and paper and just empty my head of everything that's worrying me. Another thing, I don't know if I mentioned already breath work, but if you can find someone in your area who facilitates breath work is so transformational. And oftentimes I've found the same benefits from a transcendental meditation, where it's like a deep visualization, and I've had the same experience in an acupuncture session. So I recommend all of these things to help you get out of a mental funk. If nothing else, then just focus on the breaths. Now, when you are feeling this way, it takes about 90 seconds of a breath pattern for meditation to kick in, but finding a even state of breath where you breathe in for 4 seconds through the nose, so hold, and then exhale from the mouth for 6 seconds. Continuing this breath pattern over and over again for 60 to 90 seconds will help you lower that triggered response in the body and the central nervous system. And that is going to help you feel nice and refreshed, and like you have a clear head, and you'll just feel like you can almost breathe off that stress from you. And you can even visualize that if that helps. The next question is, how were you able to get help after so long of being ignored? Now, I feel like you guys know this about me. It took me 11 years of experiencing my endometriosis symptoms before I found a doctor who would listen to me and even do an ultrasound to start the process of figuring out if I had endometriosis. The ultrasound came before my laparoscopy, and the ultrasound actually came from my primary care physician before I was referred to a special gynecologist who then did a laparoscopy and found endometriosis. But that's just it. Is for me, it was not giving up on finding a different doctor and getting a second opinion, a third opinion, a fourth opinion, a fifth opinion, and keep seeing doctors until I found one who was willing to not just hear me, but listen to what I was going through and help me find a solution for that, who actually even told me, like, it sounds like you have endometriosis, versus someone who just kind of wrote me off under the rug and said, welcome to being a woman. Like, this is your normal. You're always going to feel like this. That's just such a discouraging response. I feel like if you go in and you're experiencing pain and your doctor tells you that's normal, that's an abnormal response. Find a second opinion. Find a third opinion. Don't give up on that. And I know that resources are limited, and that's why it took me so long to find a doctor. When I was in college, it's not like I had the money to just keep going and paying, and even with insurance, I couldn't just go and keep paying copays to have diagnostic tests run and go see a different doctor. It wasn't always covered by my insurance. So I feel like oftentimes it does take a little bit of financial backing. But to me, my health is invaluable. I can't put a price tag on being able to feel better and understand what that means for me. Obviously, I can put a price tag on it as far as, like, if I can't afford medications or supplements that I need, then I can't afford medications or supplements that I need. But it's one of those things that if I have the money for it, I don't hesitate to spend the money on it, because my health is important to me. My health is one of the most important things to me. If I don't have my health, then there's nothing else I can do. There's nothing else I can give. So don't give up, my friend. I know that there's someone out there who resonates with you. If you suspect you have endometriosis, check out Nancy's Nook on Facebook. It's a Facebook group. It's a Facebook community. There are tons of excision specialists in there. These are endometriosis specific specialists, and there are very few of them. So check out that group. There is a beautiful list already concocted for you in there. It's not my group, but it has helped so many other individuals who are experiencing endometriosis. So check that out. I highly recommend. The next question is, do you think all of your illnesses go hand in hand? If you're new here, I was diagnosed with MTHFR, which is a genetic mutation. It affects the process that my body turns folic acid into what's called methylfolate, and methylfolate is responsible for a lot of our daily functions, like our mental function, our emotional state, the way that our body processes certain vitamins, and lots more. So when my body wasn't processing the folic acid from my food or vitamins into methylfolate, then things with my mental health were just all in whack. And so I have MTHFR, I have HASHIMOTOS, which is a thyroid autoimmune disorder, and I was able to reverse those symptoms and put one of my antibodies back into its complete normal range through lifestyle and dietary changes, and I have endometriosis. And as far as I know, those are the 3 diagnoses that I have. And do I know if they go hand in hand? I really don't. I really don't know that anybody knows if they go hand in hand. I think that they could potentially lead to other things that would go hand in hand later on in my lifetime, and that honestly is one of my biggest fears. But right now, do I think Hashimoto's, MTHFR, and endometriosis all go hand in hand? I really don't know. I don't have an answer for you, but I do know that there are a lot of individuals out there who do experience all of these things, who do have the same diagnoses. I've even noticed, like, multiple sclerosis has been something that I've seen, and even fibromyalgia, a lot in the community with people who have the same kind of things. And so I would be curious to know if they do go hand in hand. Maybe that is something that science will figure out one day. But as of right now, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I really don't know. The next question, and this is a really good one, is how did you process multiple diagnoses? Again, it's just that presence process that I've been using. It's all of the same resources. It's trusting in my spirit guides. Prayer became a really big part of my journey as I started my endometriosis journey and as I was going in for surgery. Having a spiritual practice was just insanely comforting for me. Being able to kind of trust in the universe, trust in spirit, and trust in my angel guides that I was going to be safe and cared for. It's such a huge thing, but it is such a beautiful thing to be able to tap into if you have that awareness. And then I was seeing my therapist not so much to process my diagnosis, but to process the fact that I was going to have surgery. So again, just like don't be afraid to have a team on your side and build that team of mental health care professionals, self-care professionals, and physical health care professionals to help you on your journey, because it can be a lot to take in, a lot to process. And going from knowing and thinking that nothing was wrong and you were just in a lot of pain to getting a name for something, for a lot of people that can be overwhelming, and especially having multiple things. Now, I think it would have been one thing for me if all of my diagnoses came at the same time, but sorry, my neighbor's cutting the grass or something. That's kind of annoying. My diagnoses, they came each on their own, so I was able to kind of process each one of those on their own. And it's so important to have like self-care and compassion and just understand that it's okay. Whatever you're feeling, it's okay that you feel that way. It is part of your human experience. And I think that it's just so important to remember that in this lifetime, we are never given anything that we cannot handle. And whatever the lesson might be, there's always a lesson in something that we need to learn. And that is why we're given experiences in life. And so that's the way that I look at it. I try to be positive about it. I try to, there's nothing I can do to change that situation. So I just try to roll with the punches and go with the flow and just understand that I can handle anything that's given to me. I am a warrior. I'm an endo warrior goddess. I can do this, and I know that you can do this. And community is one of the things that makes it so much better and easier to know that you're not alone going through this. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate you more than you know. The next question is, when was your mental state at its lowest, and what did you do to get out of it? I have gone through a couple periods in my life where my mental state was at an all-time low. I can think of 3 times in particular. The first was when I was in 8th grade and I lost my grandmother. She passed away from multiple sclerosis at the age of 56, and she passed away on the night of my 13th birthday. And I learned a lot of my spirituality from her, and she was such a special person in my life. And I was at a point then where I was grieving and I needed support in a way that I didn't have. And I was acting out. I became very self-destructive in that time frame, and my mental health was at a very low point then. I was seeing therapists who at the time had misdiagnosed me bipolar, and I was put on medication that I should not have been on as a 13-year-old girl. And throughout that time, my parents were fighting for custody of me. And so I was going through court-ordered therapy sessions, to which I was given written tests and diagnosed borderline personality disorder, which a therapist now, as an adult in pretty good mental health at this point in my life, my therapists have said how irresponsible it was of those clinical therapists to diagnose a child, a 13-year-old child, with a personality disorder when their personality was never developed. Looking back at that time in my life, yes, I was grieving and I needed support in a way that I didn't have because the rest of my family was grieving. And at that time in my life, I didn't understand that. So I didn't know what I needed. I didn't know how I needed to be supported. And the people around me didn't know that either. So it's nobody's fault. But that was a really low point in my mental health. That one was really rough to get out of. That took time because it wasn't something that I could take into my own hands. I was 13 at the time. And so I was still under the care of my parents and under what they thought was my best interest and guidance. So that took a while. Things kind of subsided when I kind of just found friends at that young age that I resonated with. But mental health kind of relapsed again. And then in college, I had 2 more experiences where my mental health declined a lot. And they both occurred during health diagnoses. So the first one was just a very low mental state where I couldn't even handle being in my own head anymore. I was so possessive and obsessive over everything in my life, and it just, when things didn't go my way, it was the absolute worst thing. I was having so much trouble like processing my anger, and that was when I found out I had MTHFR. And finding out I had MTHFR was actually a huge help to that. Because I found that out, was able to get on a vitamin regimen that allowed my body to properly process folic acid into methylfolate and start to jumpstart those chemicals and the receptors that I needed to be able to manage and maintain my mental health. So that was awesome because I started to feel a significant difference. I added therapy to that, and that just helped me over the moon. I still kind of had one more little relapse there with mental health towards the end of my college career. Again, when my health took me to a place where I found out I had HASHIMOTOS, and things just were in such a weird spiral in my life then. I was just thinking about this the other day. Like, I remember going into work in hysterics because I thought Cody was going to leave me. And I don't even remember what it was. I think like the dog peed in his room or something stupid like that. But just to be able to like not process things properly in that way back then, like, I needed help. And I remember I actually took a sick leave from school figuring out Hashimoto's, but my mental health as well. I remember specifically being pulled aside and saying, like, you need to go home. You're not coming back to finish finals. We're going to give you a medical extension. You need to take a medical leave. You are sick. And I just remember thinking, like, I don't feel sick, though. Like, I have a diagnosis, but I don't feel sick. Like, why can't I do this? But I was sick. Like, I was not well. I needed that time. I'm grateful that I had that time to be able to finish everything and get myself together back in order. I got into my self-care routine then, really deep and really heavy. My yoga and meditation and just hardcore 360. I went back that next semester and people were like, who are you? You are a completely different person. I wanted to do my final project as taking a yoga teacher training. I didn't end up doing that, but my senior year, like, starting to give back to the community, starting to get involved in community service, getting involved in self-care and caring for others, it just started to awaken that sense of, you know, this spiritual awakening, this empath, light worker side, and being able to give back. It just made me feel good about myself, good about what I was doing, and it gave me purpose. After that, and after I started to find my purpose, I didn't question on my own life anymore. I still, to this day, I haven't had another suicidal thought because I feel like I found my purpose and what I'm here to do in this lifetime. And spirit and my spiritual practice has really helped me get there. Next question is, how has endometriosis affected your life and your relationships? For so long it was, just having a whole week where I was basically useless. Like, even I would promise to get the dishes done and then my period would start and I wouldn't be able to get the dishes done because I was just writhing in so much pain. And that does take a toll on life, and it's made me have to slow down and appreciate myself or what I can do and honor myself when I can't do something. It's forced me to be a lot more self-compassionate with myself and with others even. And then in my relationship especially, obviously, like, intimacy things are kind of a physical barrier with endometriosis, and that can definitely take its toll. I think that when you find the right partner, that partner is willing to work with you, and that is why I'm so grateful that I have Cody in my life. He takes such great care of me, and I couldn't ask for a better man beside me. And I'm just very excited to spend the rest of my life with him. So finding your people, finding your tribe, your people understand. Your people aren't the people who say, you bailed on me again. Like, I don't understand why you can't hang out. You're lazy. No, it's pain. They understand that you are dealing with a chronic illness, and they have empathy and compassion for you in that way. And they don't get upset with you when you have to cancel plans. So it's just finding those people in your life. So honestly, it's affected my relationships a little bit, but I have the right people in my life. And so it hasn't affected my relationships in a way that is too negative, or as negative as I feel like other people might experience, if that makes sense. That kind of leads me to, how do you maintain your health in your relationship? I don't know how I do most things. Some days I feel like I get everything on my to-do list done and I am just superwoman, and then other days I'm like, I don't feel like doing a gosh darn thing, and all I want to do is lay on the couch, Maintaining my relationship and my health, it's just something that I do. I have a daily routine that I implement every morning, and especially if I'm feeling pain. But again, in a relationship, I just think it's so important to find someone who is understanding of what you're going through. Finally, the last question is, how do you stay positive through all of this? I feel like I've answered this. It's really a mindset thing. It's that presence process. It's not getting too upset over things as they happen and rolling with the punches. There's nothing we can do to change our situation, but there's only everything that we can do to change our mindset on that situation. That is all I have for you in today's video. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you have more questions you'd like me to answer, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I will do another video like this sometime in the future, so whenever you are finding this, feel free to add on. I love all of you, and I wish you all happy healing. I will see you in the next video. Bye!
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos. Join our Endo Warrior Goddess community by clicking the link in the description. And as always, I'll be back every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday with more content.